Hey, everybody, this is Andy Knapp, and I am excited to have with us a successful business owner from Indiana today, Will Ramey of Legacy Athletic. Well, let's start with introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your personal story.
Yeah. So I'm Will Ramey, born and raised in Indiana. Made it out of Indiana for about 6 months before meeting my wife, who grew up down the street, and that was one of many reasons that brought me back. But let's be honest, it was the primary one. You meet a beautiful gal, just
Yes.
makes it easy to want to be close. So I own Legacy Athletics. I'm a managing partner with Legacy Insurance Enterprises. Have a few other little projects I'm working on as well, and that basically coming to learn that the more I want to start and the more things I dip my fingers into, the more I need to settle down and just focus into a couple of them. So that's a lesson right there you can learn from business ownership.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Other than
Tell-
that, live my life by four pillars: faith, family, fitness, and freedom. And that's kind of what I. If it doesn't fit into one of those categories, it doesn't get my time.
Hey, that's a great mantra. Tell us how the business came about and at what point you decided and you had confidence that you could run your own business.
Yeah. So we kind of discussed this a little bit the first time we spoke. But I started out in direct sales, selling cell phones of all things, um, making six figures within my first full year there. Kind of gave me a false misconception of, how hot a shit I thought I was, right? And moving on in my career, I ended up leaving that place. I was the top rep in a four-state market and top 30 in the nation. Just got to a point where the environment was toxic. The leadership wasn't at the time my favorite. It's funny because since then I've actually become friends with the regional director. That was part of the reason I left that company. And one of the things he told me was, "Will, you were never going to be here 10 years, whether I tried to keep you or not." And he knew that, and we've become friends since, which is pretty cool. Um, Moved into a recruiting role for about 5 months. Came to find out very quickly that was not for me, and I wouldn't say a failure. It was a trial and a learned experience of something I didn't want to do. And then from there, moved into working for Tom James in direct sales, and did that for 2 years. And in that time, built a pretty respectable business. I was very blessed to have come across a lot of good clients, and one in particular that I would say changed my outlook on life in a lot of ways. And also made me realize, or humbled me a lot too, because you realize you'll never make that amount of money in life, and or become that successful, as far as the world's view goes. And
Right.
this is one of the kindest people I've ever met. He I would say respected my time more than most any other client did. And so it just kind of put things in perspective of, when you're 25 making 130 grand a year, you're really not that hot of
Yeah.
shit, and you have no right to treat people arrogantly or disrespectfully. When people that are twice as busy, 10 times as busy, doing a lot of different things, treat you with respect. So, anyways.
I get that. That's great. That's
Mm-hmm.
great. The little dudes found out a little bit of how things work out, and then
Mm-hmm.
applied it. Tell us a little bit more about Legacy Athletics.
Yeah, so I ended up leaving Tom James in 20, yeah, it was April of 2020. I resigned from there after we closed on our house and started up my insurance business here in Indiana, or opened my book of business, and partnered with Legacy Insurance Enterprises. They had been around for a couple of years prior to that and were looking to expand into another state. This relationship was kind of an answer to prayer. It was a great opportunity to go out on my own and kind of jump into the entrepreneurial world, but with a little bit of a safety net. And
Right.
then after being involved with them for a couple of years, ended up uh, joining a gym kind of as a networking opportunity, and a place to train with the team because I was looking to compete in CrossFit and wanted to get some more gymnastics coaching, things of that nature, and just have people to train with. And So joined the gym after being there about a year. Came to find out the owner was looking to sell, and it just worked out really well. Great timing for him, great timing for me, and we had an opportunity to accomplish my dream of owning a gym, which I had for 12 years and tried to do 12 years prior. So from there, we kind of went in with a business model. I had seen a lot of things work and a lot of things fail in that industry,
Right.
even in my time in direct sales, and just kind of paid attention to the market and got an opportunity to go out on my own and try my hand at what I thought worked. And so, there's been a lot of things that have worked and then trial and error on things that haven't. And, we've kind of built to a consistent point at this point. For the first 2 years, I was basically playing real estate agent, which I never thought in a million years I would do as a gym owner. But we had some interesting situations with our real estate and had to move twice in the last year. So now that those things have settled down, we're kind of focused on bigger picture and what the next steps are in growth.
That's great. Where are you located right now?
We're in Westfield, Indiana. We're right off the Monon, which is really cool. I'm
Right.
actually walking on it right now as we speak. And we're inside a place called the Jungle, which
I
has
know.
basketball courts,
Yeah.
volleyball courts. So we've partnered with them in some things and are going to be probably partnering with them on a few more things going forward. So yeah, it's been a great relationship. The Moes own it or own the Jungle, and they're just great people to be in business with.
That's excellent. Hey, for everybody listening, check out the company, Legacy Athletics, and also Legacy Insurance, right? We could probably check
Yeah,
that out
Legacy
too.
Insurance too.
Put those both in there. Link in the
Exactly.
description and the comment, and comment on their LinkedIn that you're watching them. Well, what's your biggest learning as a business owner?
Say it one more time for me.
What is your biggest learning as a business owner? What's the thing you've learned that above all?
Oh gosh, always be planning, but never have a set plan.
Pretty good one.
One of the things that kind of I've always has been a mantra for my life is that God laughs at our plans. I moved to Nashville, Tennessee, gosh, 14 years ago now, to get into country music, and I ended up back here having kids at 20, and um, just starting a different life that I never thought about. But it's been incredible. I have a beautiful wife, two amazing kids that
Awesome.
are growing and learning every day. I mean, it's pretty cool to see where God has put our life at this point. So that's kind of, I would say, say it is always be planning, but never have a set plan, and be able to adapt and pivot when needed.
You're right about
Yeah.
that.
There's plenty of other lessons too, but people can reach out to me if they want to have more conversation on that.
Absolutely. What do you attribute your growth to?
Now, when you say growth, do you mean from a business perspective, like
Yeah,
numbers
I
and
meant from
members,
a
or
business perspective, but you can share both. You can share from a personal perspective as well.
Well, I think when it comes to growing a business, you got to be for the people, and when you focus on numbers and growth, quote unquote, the focus shifts away from the people, and at that point, you're going to start going backwards. You do have to make smart business decisions as a business owner. You got to be, wise with the revenue coming in, and you do have to generate revenue and grow revenue if you want to last. But I think the number one thing is being focused on, your team, the people that work for you or with you, and then the people that you serve. So we try to put people first in all of our businesses, put relationships first in all of our businesses, and which has its own challenges too. When you're focused on a business that is very relational, there's a lot of outside stress that can come on you, and
Sure is.
getting into a habit of wanting to please people, and that's something that's also a negative. You got to do what's right for your team, your business, and your members or your customers. From a knowledge point of view, I did not finish college. I do not have a college degree. I wouldn't say I regret that in any way, shape, or form. Maybe something I change in the future if I decide to. But I've continued educating myself after that. I tell people all the time that I didn't learn to read until I was 25. I have a very good friend and mentor who really taught me how to read for personal growth. And when many people were shutting their books from college and not ever picking up a book again, that is when I started.
Oh,
So
that's great.
I feel like my mind and my, my wisdom, so to speak, has improved due to that.
Excellent. That's absolutely key. You always got to keep learning because there's always
Mm-hmm.
things change. There's stuff that everybody, people don't know what they don't know. But once they know,
Mm-hmm.
they should know. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly.
What are some common misconceptions about running a business from somebody on the outside looking in?
Well, you never know it all. You should always be willing to hear hear the opinions of your team, even if at the end of the day you're the one making the final decision. Have a council, a board, so to speak, for your life, and bounce things off them. Have mentors around you, um, and just try to keep your ears and your mind open. Really, is what it is, and then formulate your opinion off that. Formulate your decision off that.
It's great. That's great. That's great advice. As you think about the next 1 to 3 years, what is your number one development area or challenge area to achieve your goals?
Mm. One the thing I want to focus on more so than generating revenue is living life and kind of being more present in life. I realized over the last few months that all I do is work out, and spend time with my family. But my family, even though they're number two under my faith and priority, they get you know the what's remaining, right? And
Right.
there are different seasons that you go through in life that you're like right now I'm in very much a building phase, and because I'm in a building phase, I have to sacrifice things that I want now. I'd love to go
Yes.
buy a brand new Toyota Tundra right now, and while I could do it, it would affect the opportunity to do other things. um I know that I'm not buying another vehicle unless it's in cash. So if I'm buying a vehicle in cash, like, it needs to not hurt if I'm doing it. And if it hurts, then I'm probably not doing it at the right time.
Great
I
point.
think that developing just that ability to be present, be focused on the lifestyle, not the money, is something that's very hard for me. And it's like, you can really do that at any stage of your life. But it's something that
Great.
I struggle with a lot, and yeah, I would say that's where I'm trying to develop right now.
That's a key area. So I get this is the last question. What advice do you have? I mean, you've talked a little bit about different things you advise on. What's one great piece of advice that you have for new business owners?
Well, I know not everybody that's listening to this probably is a believer, whatever. That's what I hold on to. That's what I know to be true. That's my truth. Um, and it's be still, trust God. It's very hard to do. It doesn't mean you don't work hard. It doesn't mean that you don't toil. We are called to toil our fields and toil, the land we've been giving, steward what's been given to us. So it doesn't mean you don't work. It doesn't mean you sit there with your hands idle and go, God, when are you giving me the money? When are you giving me the success? When are you giving me what I want? But I think being focused on that, and trusting God, honestly, is the biggest thing for me, and being focused on what you can do for other people, not what other people can do for you. And I know that that's probably pretty. You hear that a lot, but the CEO of Tom James, he would always say, like, if you're unhappy, you need to take the focus off yourself and put it onto other people. When we're most unhappy is when we're focused on our purpose, our needs, our goals, our success. But as soon as you take that and point it onto other people, and go, what can I do to serve? What can I do to serve, serve you, God, or what can I do to serve other people? Um, Provide value to them. Things just kind of start happening. And when you trust, your wheels just kind of stop spinning and they actually get traction.
That's wonderful, wonderful advice. It is like that. When you start to think that way, you start to activate your reticular activating system, and it just manifests things. They just come out of nowhere sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you think that's something that you manifest, there's something that there's divine intervention on. The world gets you back when you get going on
Mm-hmm.
that in a good way. When you start looking at it that way.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you
Likewise,
so
Andy.
much for being on your show. As I mentioned before, folks, on the Business Spotlight, you can look at Legacy Athletics and Legacy Insurance and their websites below. And Will, once again, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Very welcome. It was a pleasure.